Hey everyone, we started a podcast and we are so excited that you've joined us here today.
I can't believe that we are actually sitting down recording our intro episode for season 1. After so many months of planning and preparation, it is finally here.
I know, I'm so excited. If you've ever longed for conversations that make room for nuance about faith, life, and the slow work of formation as a follower of Jesus, then you are in the right place. And on this podcast, we're going to engage with topics related to theology, culture, communication, and discipleship with honesty and pastoral concern. We're not always going to get it right, but we're committed to faithful thinking, charitable engagement, and inviting others into the kind of nuanced conversations that many of us are longing for in our polarized world. In season 1, we addressed several complex topics surrounding intentional formation and how we engage in difficult conversations within the Christian atmosphere. You'll hear episodes about call-out culture, spiritual intimacy, pornography and its greater impact within the Christian culture, the deals we make with God, and something I'm looking forward to is how do we wrestle faithfully with AI?
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that one.
I know there's so many good conversations that we've had, and we're just excited to release it. And so we want to be able to share the heart behind Truth and Tone and why we started this podcast after, honestly, a couple of years of talking about wanting to do it. And really what made us want to do it now is recognizing that we are living in a cultural moment that's marked by noise, reaction, and fragmentation. Strong opinions are really easy to come by, but patient and careful reflection is not. That same posture has made its way into the church, and it's created a hunger for something more. We long for conversations among believers who want to become more like Christ, who are willing to sit with complexity, and who are not afraid of having hard conversations that actually lead to growth. And so we really want this podcast to feel approachable and sincere. I think those are two words that keep coming back time and time again as we have been recording, is we want to engage with others and keep our listeners in mind to be able to invite you into these conversations where we can truly wrestle.
Absolutely. Yeah. This podcast is for those who love scripture, who also love the church, even when they are wrestling with disappointment, complexity, or unanswered questions. And for people who want to think carefully, speak charitably, and grow in wisdom. We hope that this podcast will encourage or challenge you to become more okay with changing your mind. I know that's been a theme throughout our life. And to seek the humanity of every image bearer. Also, to desire to become more like Jesus, recognizing that the process of our sanctification is messy and slow.
So to share a little bit about us and who we are, I would love, Eric, for you to kind of go first and just let our listeners know a little bit about who you are.
Certainly. I serve as a pastor at a local church here in the Pacific Northwest, and I completed my theological training at Biola University and Western Seminary. I often describe myself as a pastor theologian because I don't think those two things should often be separated. I believe good theology is deeply practical, and that careful and faithful engagement with Scripture shapes our imagination and forms us to live faithfully in the world for Jesus. Outside of ministry, I'm a serious coffee snob operating off of several different cups of coffee every day. I'm an amateur pitmaster that loves smoking all different types of meat, and I'm a fan of the NFL and forever faithful fan of the San Francisco 49ers. More importantly, I'm a husband and a dad who deeply loves his kids and allows them to use myself as a human trampoline.
This is so true. I can attest to that.
Yep. Becca, what about you?
Yeah, I am a writer and I publish a weekly Substack called The Middle Moments, where I write to encourage weary hearts and remind us that God meets us in the ordinary, because that's a theme that just continues to come up in my life. My background is in strategic communication, and much of my professional life was spent in Christian higher education, where I worked in everything from fundraising and marketing to student life. I'm also the author of a devotional called Seen in the Unseen, written especially for mothers of young children who long to experience God's presence in our everyday rhythms of life. But outside of writing, I love being outdoors with our kids. We explore local parks, and I usually have a good cup of coffee in hand. And I also really enjoy staying connected to friends near and far through incredibly long voice messages in the middle of our busy lives.
So true. All right, here's what you can expect moving forward. On this podcast, you're going to hear a lot of conversations between Rebecca and I, and you're also going to experience some interviews and some reflections on the certain topics that we've brought up and how we can live faithfully for Jesus in a very polarized world. The episodes will release one time per week each season, and stay tuned because after the episodes are done, we're going to have an outro episode as well, reflecting on this entire season.
Yeah, so thank you so much for being here. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss any of our future episodes. And if you want to join us and take the conversation further, be sure to subscribe to our Substack, which is linked in the show notes, where we expand on each episode, inviting further discussion on these topics. We can't wait to journey with you.